Everything looked the same as before, but Elena knew better. Both of them had changed on the inside, so there was no way things could be the same. Okay. She felt like she had something lodged in her throat. She tried to pull her hand away but failed. Darling. Aaron slowly stood up. Then he leaned forward to kiss her. She turned away, feeling discomfited. It's daytime. Didn't we agree to practice restraint? He frowned and missed her lips in that split second. The kiss landed on her cheek. I'm sorry for being too forward. He smiled nonchalantly and opened the ring box, revealing an exquisite and lavish pink diamond ring. It was eye-catching and gleamed under the lights. Even if it wasn't worth a fortune, it was still expensive. Aaron had indeed put his heart into designing and making the ring. It was created when his love for Elena was at its peak. It was too bad his love lasted for such a short time. It also came with lies and betrayal. Elena's chest tightened. It was as if she'd been stabbed in a spot that had just recovered. Be good and take care of it. Don't lose it again. He put the ring back on her finger and tapped her forehead gently. He seemed to have much to say when his gaze met hers but ultimately didn't. Instead, he went back to work after giving her a brief hug. Elena didn't know whether Aaron could sense something was up or whether it was just his guilty conscience acting up, but he returned particularly early that night. He cooked dinner for her and even took a stroll with her after the meal. Since he was willing to treat her well, she would wholeheartedly accept it. They didn't have much time left together, so she would allow him to do whatever he wanted as long as it didn't involve intimacy. Of course, she didn't reject him outright. She had the perfect excuse to keep him away. She told him her sudden stomachache yesterday was a combination of a cold she'd caught from being in the rain and her period, which was coming soon. That was why she'd been in so much pain that she'd needed to go to the hospital. Aaron had always doted on her, so he wouldn't make things hard for her over something like this. He even drew her a hot bath, hoping it would alleviate her period cramps when they came. He was careless over certain things yet meticulous over others. He paid attention to details when something mattered to him, so Elena's period came and went without much issue under his tender care. After resting easy for a week due to her period, Elena started getting anxious, especially when it ended. Aaron had always worn a condom when doing it with her since deciding not to have a child. The only time he allowed himself to go wild was during the few days immediately after her period ended. In the past, he would have made the most out of these few days. Even if he was away on business trips, he would fly back to spend the night with her before flying off again the following morning. What was she going to do if he insisted on having his way with her that night? Was it necessary for her to get nasty and reject him? Elena kept thinking about this as she showered. However, she instantly stopped worrying when she stepped out of the bathroom and saw Aaron holding his phone, looking anxious. Her heart sank. What was the point of her turmoil? Aaron had Mia now. She was much more willing to go along with him and do what he wanted. Why would he still be interested in a woman who restrained him and stopped him from going wild? She recalled how he tried to go to meet Mia for a midday tryst during his lunch break. He'd already spent so many days by her side while waiting for her period to pass. How could he possibly hold himself back any longer and stay with her? Sure enough, Elena was right that as she applied her skincare, Aaron approached her and helped her dry her hair. Once it was dry and combed, he said tentatively, "A friend from university asked me out to discuss a possible collaboration, darling. You remember he left his company to start out on his own, right?" He wasn't lying. His friend had indeed started his own business, but Aaron wasn't the same man as before. He now had a net worth of millions of dollars, and every move he made could have widespread consequences. He had to be careful in everything he did. So how could someone from a startup company get him to meet them so easily? It was clear he was too impatient to even give her a proper excuse. Still, Elena waved a hand without hesitation. "Go on. You're the best, darling." Aaron immediately beamed and hurried to pick out a shirt, tie, and suit. Elena's heart suddenly throbbed painfully when she saw him looking so delighted. Had he cheated on her because of the novelty, or had he just fallen out of love with her? Was the prospect of seeing Mia so appealing to him? Was it enough for him to cast aside the bond he shared with Elena? Aaron left the house after changing and washing up. He even spritzed some cologne. Barely 5 minutes later, Elena's phone pinged. She'd received a photo of Aaron leaning against the backseat with his shirt open and belt unbuckled. This was followed by a video. Have you missed me and the baby after so many days apart, Aaron? Mia asked. Aaron answered her with a muffled grunt. That wasn't enough for her. She pressed him for answers. Talk to me, Aaron. Have you missed me after so many days apart? Have you missed my body? Have you missed my tricks? Have you missed sticking it in me from the door to the bathroom? Have you missed our baby? He started saying daddy. You know, do you want to hear it? Do you want him and me to call you daddy together? Her words set Aaron on fire. He had nowhere to go, so he pressed her head lower. He panted and said, Yes, I've missed you and our baby. Now go faster, babe. Faster. The video ended there. Elena walked to the window. Even in the darkness of night, she could vaguely see a car swaying underneath the cover of the trees outside the iron gate. Tears blurred her vision. Suddenly, she found herself struggling to remember what Aaron was like. What did the Aaron she'd met 10 years ago, fallen in love with 7 years and married 3 years ago really like? Was he who she thought he was? Or was everything she knew about him just what he wanted her to see? Perhaps the real Aaron was a scumbag who'd slowly descended into darkness and the mires of life. Elena thought she was his salvation, but all she'd done was make him look better on the outside. She'd made him seem like an ordinary man who was loyal and faithful, that in truth, he was still rotten inside. He'd just hidden it well enough that one could only see past the glossy exterior and discover the decay inside if one peeled back the layers and scrutinized him. Elena had been stuck in a wonderful dream for the past decade. Now that she'd been roused from her slumber, she realized it had all come to nothing. The foundation upon which she'd built her life had been nothing but lies, bringing her to the verge of a breakdown. Her chest throbbed painfully, almost as if it was telling her that she'd wasted the past decade on a failure. She couldn't save Aaron or the original Elena, who'd given her a second chance at life. The anguish she felt was unbearable. She felt like she was going to die. She bent over and curled up against the balcony's railing as she panted for breath. She bawled her eyes out, leaving them red and swollen. The night passed torturously, and she was in such agony that she didn't notice the rain pouring on her. When Aaron returned home, he found Elena sprawled on the couch, drenched from head to toe. Her face was red, and she was almost unconscious from her high fever. Darling, are you okay? He ran to her, panicked at the sight of her. He immediately took her to the hospital. Elena pulled through after some quick rescuing on the doctor's part, but she had to spend a few more days in the hospital due to pneumonia caused by her high fever. She supposed it was good for her. She only had 6 days to go before she could leave this world. All she wanted to do was have some peace and quiet in the hospital. She didn't want to go home or have to rack her brains when dealing with someone as fake and fickle-minded as Aaron. However, it didn't occur to her that Aaron and Mia could come to her. Hi there. Would you happen to know where the pediatric department is? Elena looked at the sophisticated, beautiful woman before her. Her hair was curled perfectly, and her dress was crimson and fashionable. Yet she had a baby carrier strapped to her front, holding an adorable boy with large eyes. She immediately recognized the woman to be Mia, with whom she'd communicated virtually for a long time. Her chest tightened. She shut her eyes before opening them again. There are plenty of doctors and nurses outside. You should ask them, Ms. Wynne. Oh, so you do recognize me, Mrs. Reed. Mia stuck out her chest to bring her son forward. Take a good look at my baby boy. This is the son I share with Aaron. He's 1 this year, and he's smart and adorable. He's perfect in every way, really. Aaron adores him so much that he didn't just give him a villa and a yacht. He wants to give our baby his company's shares. Elena patiently waited for her to finish bragging before smiling faintly. Do you want him to be plagued by the troubles that come with wealth at such a young age? Mia's expression shifted. What's that supposed to mean? You're just jealous of me because you can't have a baby. Elena's smile didn't waver. She pointed at her diagnosis report, which hung at the foot of her bed. Didn't you do your homework before coming? I have pneumonia after getting a high fever from the rain. You do know pneumonia is contagious, right? Mia's expression darkened. She hurriedly covered the baby's face and backed away anxiously. Almost running into Aaron as he entered the hospital ward, he instinctively held her. Then, his expression soured when he saw who she was. What are you doing here? In the next second, he remembered that he was in Elena's hospital ward and turned to look at her. As he hurried to her, he said, I'm sorry, Elena. Was Mia bothering you? She's one of the company's employees.